Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 25th of September. So, on my daughter's birthday, what's the market's going to do today then? We'll see. So, looking at euro dollar first, and we've started off on the downside, just rolling over a little bit there. Came up short of running into the weekly pivot yesterday, but got caught on some of the other key moving averages on its way. It may still push up there. Still, I said, as much as I think in the bigger picture it's bearish, the short term may get more bounce. Well, got a bit of bounce yesterday, running to the 60-minute 100 there, the R1 area. Where to today? Well, if it breaks the daily pivot, then I would be looking for sort of a new higher push up a bit further, maybe towards that weekly pivot. It could be very slow. I mean, it was driven yesterday. At times it looked like it was driven by some poor US data, but it was very choppy yesterday. But today, well, just looking to see if it breaks this downside here. It's already hit the pivot, the daily S1. It's already had quite a sell-off this morning, and well, my preference really would be see if this can continue to the upside. As I say, ideally a break of that daily pivot would see me bullish. Bearish side of things, it may be a bit limited in terms of the distance because of the movement we've already seen. Cable. Well, cable yesterday did almost a bullish engulfing, quite a solid day up in the end. Still got potential further upside. As I said many a time, it's I believe that because of the no deal really being taken off the table, and deal's going to be having to make, the Supreme Court judgment yesterday gave the pound a bit of boost there as well, for a while at least, and then it pulled back and then it went up. But it looks like it might still have potential upside. When you look at this 4-hourly picture, not looking quite so great, but it's still it's just seen a relatively mild correction in a bigger move so far. And looking at it from an hourly point of view, so where's the sort of key lines here in the sand? Well, if it breaks the 100 MA, 60-minute 100 MA, just starts pushing up that way, well, R1 could be in line, so further upside. If it just chops around this morning, well, I think it's just patience, and these markets are a little bit choppy. They seem to absorb news, and they're trying to probably absorb news today as well. To the downside, maybe I don't like it so much, and probably would just leave it alone and wait for opportunities back the other way. We'll see. There is a possible downside towards that S1, I guess, from what we're looking at the moment. It's not the clearest of markets, but well, as I say, my preference really on the pound would be on the long side, but we'll have to assess that post 8 o'clock. Going on to dollar yen, well, the Bank of Japan governor suggested they'll do whatever they need. They may need more financial easing, and he suggested they'll do just that if necessary. But the yen continued strengthening yesterday. The daily 21 didn't hold too much. We're now down to the daily 50. Is it going to come back and retest that again, that sort of level? Lower highs, lower lows on this 4-hourly picture. We still haven't seen that weekly pivot hit. It's put a sort of more of a bullish 4-hour pattern in here, a 4-hour bullish pivot swing. Is it going to break? Well, the thing is to wait to see if it manages to break up above the 60-minute 50. If it manages back to there, well, the R1, maybe even back towards that weekly pivot is possible. It's again, we saw the movement yesterday, 3 o'clock, when the US data came out there, so it may have been the earlier driver there, and the money running to risk. But at the moment, this looks like it's got potential upside on this yen. Aussie dollar, well, Aussie dollar not really doing too much. Sell off again, just as the euro has sold off through this morning, and the pound. In its play of things here, it does look weak. It does, and it fundamentally, as I said in the big picture earlier in the week, that I still expect further downside on the likes of the Aussie, and well, it's pretty much filling that picture. Yesterday, well, it chopped up a few times. The news from the Bank of Reserve Bank of Australia governor spoke. It pushed it up at 11 o'clock there, 10:45, 11 o'clock. Pushed it up to its weekly pivot, ticked that box, and it then couldn't get beyond that level, that 68 area. There was a key resistance point. If it was to come back up to that now at some stage, well, there's chances are it'll break and push, but the very fact that it had so many attempts, couldn't do it, only really suggests weakness. So what for now? Well, it's already done what it's pretty much the range it did yesterday. So from a daily point of view, not a lot to be done. There may be some shorts to be had, more swing side, but not necessarily from here. He says Canadian dollar. So chop and roll continues here. Rolled over a little bit yesterday. Later there, let's just come down the time frames here. Let's put little lower highs in, lows running through this hourly time frame, but really giving up the ghost. And again, through the Asian session there, pushing up. Maybe we'll see a break of that 60-minute 100 and a continuation of that, but it's a very difficult one to read on the bigger picture at the moment. It's particularly when you come back to this daily, as you can see, it's not even hit the daily 50 there. So again, for me, best avoided at the moment. I will just have a look at the New Zealand dollar, because we saw rates left alone. I did talk about this may be in for a slightly bigger bounce. We've got a very extreme situation kicking in with the New Zealand dollar in terms of the sentiment, and when it I mean, last time it got that extreme, we saw quite a move. If I can go back to a weekly chart. Go to a weekly chart. It's back late last year when we got the extremes coming through, and shortly afterwards we saw a reasonable correction. Now, I'm not guaranteed that we'll see a correction, and that never guarantees it, but we may be in the early stages of something here. It may roll over again for another sort of move down and a possible further divergence on the weekly picture. Got a sort of divergence rolling through here on the dailies. As I say, it could continue to push up there. From the 4-hourly picture, well, it's broken that trend there over the last couple of days, and it's quite a solid movement. Bit of a retrace carrying on at the moment. Arguably that might have been a point to buy in, but really you don't want to be buying in just before the governor speaks. But it may give opportunities for more of maybe a swing position pushing upwards there. Stops underneath the 50, maybe a little bit further back, as I say, for further upside, but that's more of a swing outlook really. So that's where we are. News-wise today, we've already seen the New Zealand rate statement and cash rate all as expected. We've got a couple of speakers today in the crude oil inventories, and that is it. So we're all left to the technicals. So have a great day. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.